Okay, let's get into it. Welcome to season 1, episode 2 of Everything Under the Sun, the podcast with me, your host, Dr. Ariel Sunshine Williams. And the topic for today is dating in quarantine. So let's get right into it. I definitely want to start by saying warning to any family members and or exes, this episode's probably not for you. All right. So, okay. Quarantine started for me on March 18th. March 17th was my last physical day at work. And um, I've been in the crib pretty much since March 18th. Um, I'm sitting at home. I think it's like end of March, and I randomly get a notification across my phone saying that my ex, who will not be named, wants to add you on LinkedIn. And I was like, LinkedIn? First of all, who who is using LinkedIn to get someone's attention? And then secondly, you should have my number still. Like, you may have blocked me, but you didn't delete my number. So anyways, this person reaches out, and I just go ahead and text him because I don't understand why he is sending me this LinkedIn notification. So we text. He acts like he doesn't know who this is. I let him know, like, you just messaged me on LinkedIn. What's up? We eventually start talking for a little bit. Things don't necessarily pick up speed, but we just kind of hash things out, and I was able to kind of chat with him about some things that have happened in his life since we stopped talking in 2018. I think it was 2018. Might have been 2019. But anyway, so I was just like, congratulations on crossing. He finally got his letters. I was really happy about that for him because we had been talking about it while we were dating. And since I know what it's like to get it after your undergraduate experience and to do it for grad chapter, I was really happy for him, and I wanted to tell him myself, like, congratulations. So I was finally able to do that, and we kind of hashed things out, and then that was it. But it was just so random to see his name, to have it pop up on my phone, and for it to be like, bro, we haven't talked in ages, and of all things, LinkedIn. I have 4 Instagram profiles. You have access to 2 of them. You were close friends with a mutual person. You could have used that person to just say, hey, what is Sunshine's number? Versus using LinkedIn. I just thought that was so random. I don't know if anyone else has had that happen to them, but they out here using LinkedIn. And then I had another ex pop up on me just a few weeks ago, actually. I don't remember why we were following each other on Instagram. I have a very strict rule about following guys that I'm talking to, dating, or just physically interacting with on social media, because I don't like to have the crossover. I don't like the overlap. I don't want them in my business knowing every move, and I don't want to be in their business knowing every move, especially if we're not like straight up boyfriend and girlfriend and it's a public situation. So I'm scrolling through my notifications, and I see a like from him, and I'm like, a like? What? Where did you even come from, bro? Like, how do you haven't been on my page since forever? And mind you, I met this person August of 2018. I had just moved to Los Angeles, and I drove up to the Bay Area for a Greek picnic. Met him. We spent the rest of the evening together after the picnic, and by the end of the night, we were boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't typically have those types of things happen, but I do have a I don't know, like, it is consistent that when dudes hang on me for a lengthy amount of time very quickly, they tend to get attached. And so things kind of escalate. But to have the title at the end of the night was kind of crazy. So anyway, so we were only together for like this much time, and things ended pretty obnoxiously because he was supposed to be coming down to LA from the Bay for a family situation, and I was going to support him at that thing. And then he was just like, why do you want to come? This is so crazy. Like, I don't even know you like that. And I was like, I'm your girlfriend. in situations like this, I'm supposed to want to be there for you and support you during situations. So he was just like, no, I just want to be by myself right now. Da, da, da. I don't want to deal with this. I want to quit this. And I'm like, quit what? He's like, this. And pretty much ever since that sentence, we haven't exchanged any type of communication. So when I saw him pop up on my screen a couple weeks ago, I was like, for what, Lord? Why are my exes showing their faces like I'm not worried about them, I'm not interested, I don't want anything from them, yet here they are. So I don't know what's going on with people during quarantine, but y'all just be wary of your exes trying to pop up on you. And so then I want to talk about dating pre quarantine. So like this is like on the cusp before we got we were made to be stuck in the house. So I don't know if you guys saw on my Instagram a few posts ago for this page, I screenshot a text communication that happened between me and a gentleman. Or I can't even say gentleman. He's a boy, definitely a child. And basically, I met this person. So I got my brackets put on in February, and I must have met him right before March because I was still eating soft foods because of the pain from my bracket. So we had exchanged information. So mind you, I met him through the Facebook dating app because a friend of mine was like, oh, the Facebook dating app is popping. I'm messing with really cool people, blah, blah, blah. I'm going on all these dates. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. So I give it a try. I go out with this guy. He asked to do coffee. Now, if you follow my other page, you'll know that I am against coffee dates at this point. So I say, hey, instead of that, can we go to Jamba Juice? Because I'm hungry and I'd rather have a smoothie for my pain, and I'll, 2 for 1. So I meet you and I'll be satisfied. So we go to the Jamba Juice. We're headed to the Jamba Juice location, and I changed locations like on my way there. So I text him, but he didn't respond, and I like to make sure that people, are confirmed that they know that something has changed. He didn't respond. So what I did was I called him, and so when I called, I heard him talking to another person, but it didn't sound like the same types of conversations you would have if you're changing directions with an Uber or Lyft driver. So it just kind of threw me. So I thought, okay, well, maybe he's being dropped off. I don't really understand. But he shows up, and I'm getting out of the car, and he and a female show up together, and he's like, hey, Sunshine, this is my best friend. I hope it's okay if she's here. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, what am I supposed to say in a situation? You showed up and she's already here. You don't think that I should have known that prior to arrival? So we go inside and we sit down and we have our drinks or whatever, and we have very cool conversation. Basically, the girl ended up carrying the conversation. She was more interesting than him, and I was really disappointed in how he showed up. Like, he had on like a Cookie Monster graphic tee and some shorts and some house shoes, and his hair was like a struggle afro, and he needed a haircut really, really badly. And I'm like, why would you show up to a first interaction, technically a first date, looking like this and bring somebody else? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So it was just kind of crazy. So we had like a little conversation afterwards via text message, and I basically explained to him that I wasn't interested in him. I didn't find him attractive, and I didn't see us having anything to talk about moving forward. So, this is it. So he's like, oh, okay, well, I thought because of, I travel a lot, that maybe perhaps we could talk about that type of stuff in the future. And I was like, yeah, okay. But really, like, I'm not engaged, right? So we don't talk for months. So let's just say that conversation was at the end of February, early March. It's July. And so I'm sitting at the crib last Sunday, actually, getting ready to, actually, this is on Saturday. This happened on Saturday because I was sitting at the crib just kind of like getting ready for my day to get started, and I get this message, and it says, hey, Sunshine, just returned to OC for a weekend after a long road trip across the states. How are you doing? And then his name. I'm like, I'm not sure who this is with the looky eyes, because I really have no idea who this is. The number is not saved. So then he sends me a link to some photos. So I open it. Hopefully it's, a close-up of his face. It's not. It's a picture. It's 2 pictures of him, like, out in the middle of a street in the desert. I'm like, bro, I can't see your face. This doesn't help me, and I still don't know who you are. And he basically was like, oh, we met at like Jamba Juice. Um, we met like a few months ago. Da da da. I said, sir, it's been months. I'm not really understanding why you're reaching out. What do you want? And he basically went on to say that like he felt like, you know, it was just our first time meeting. It wasn't that big of a deal. Can you tell me like what was wrong? Da, da, da. And so I broke it down to him that I didn't appreciate him bringing another person. I didn't appreciate how he came dressed. And I just felt like our conversation was dry. And like at the end of the day, that's all I really needed to say. I really didn't have to explain myself, but I know what it's like for people to ghost you or not talk to you and you don't know what you did wrong. Well, let me help you out, bro. This is what you did and this is what I didn't like, and so we don't have anything to talk about. So, the conversation gets a little heated or whatever, and I basically say like, oh, he basically was like, that I had got offended by him asking me, because what happened was he texted me a few weeks after, you know, we hadn't talked for a while, and he was like, oh, how's quarantine treating you? And I was like, quarantine's cool, like I'm at home, I'm working, everything's good. And he was like, well, I mean, you know, I'm just checking on you or whatever. And I said, well, yeah, I mean, I'm salaried and I'm really like, I'm just chilling. And he was like, well, I didn't ask you if you were salaried. And I'm like, okay, well, you just asked me how I was doing. And like a lot of people had lost their jobs in March, and I wasn't one of those people. So I honestly was in a really good place, mentally, emotionally, financially, physically. Like I'm straight. How can I help you, sir? Like, what is it that you want from me? And he just kind of attitude, and I was like, after that, I was like, at this point, sir, I don't want to talk to you anymore. So that's when we officially stopped talking. So he's like, oh, you know, you seem to have gotten offended by me asking you if you how you were doing during quarantine, blah blah blah. And I said, I wasn't offended, I just don't have anything to say to you. Like, I don't understand why this is still going on. So he then calls me. He then says, you're just a self-important, stuck-up person. New flash, mind you, I should say news. Newsflash, I am more educated than you, completed my thesis, and paid better. I say this because you told me I am on salary, as if it was going to impress me. I just like giving people chances. So I responded, excuse me. I actually was gonna, at first I was tempted to go off on him further, but what's the point? I'm not gonna waste my energy on the person. So I just said, unfortunately, you've been rejected and resorted to calling me out of my name. So at this point, fuck you. Like, I don't have time, sir. You don't have to call me out my name like I'm a stuck up person just because I have nothing to say to you, and I'm telling you I don't want to engage with you. Like, I am not required to engage with you. If I don't want to have a conversation, if I don't want to see you in person, if I don't want to give you the time of day, I don't have to. And at the end of the day, you're ugly, you're boring, and I don't have to talk to you if I don't want to. Like, that's just how this thing goes. Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm literally so confused by the complex that's going on in this man's head. So whatever. So then he goes on to say, okay, sorry if that sounds rude, but you need to stop acting like you're so impressive. I don't want anything from you. Just came to town and said hi. That in my mind was a polite thing to do. I responded, I do not care what you think was polite. I didn't ask for another chance, or ask for you to say hi to me. And on top of that, at this point, if you reach out to me again on another platform, whether that's text messaging, Facebook dating, Instagram, I don't care. I'm going to report you for harassment. Don't talk to me. At this point, you're blocked. Like, I don't have anything else to say to you. Nothing. Period. Point blank. Period. Like, that's it. Like, you are disrespectful at this point because you don't have to call me on my name. You're telling me I'm not impressive when, first of all, I just got my PhD by 30. I have 3 other degrees. I have businesses. I've traveled the world. I am impressive, and I don't have to prove that to you because you ain't shit. Like, but get out of my face. Get off my line. I have nothing to say to you. And so, I don't know what's going on with these little boys, but they tripping. And I don't have the time or the energy. So I just want to put that out there. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. You don't even know how much I make. You don't know what I've accomplished because we haven't even had any type of conversation to say what we're bringing to the table. Because I stopped it back in March. Now, had it been that we had discussed things that you knew what I've done with my life, mind you, you said you completed your thesis. Typically, when you complete a thesis, that's for your master's. I have two of those. Now, if I only had one, or if I didn't have anything else going on, if I hadn't just finished my dissertation and defended successfully and become Dr. Williams, then maybe, possibly, potentially, you could have something going for you, sir. But I blew you out the water. Oh gosh. I'm tickled. I'm literally tickled by the foolishness that is this man. And so, anyways, so I just wanted to review that with y'all because I haven't done a good rant about men and their stupidity in a good minute. So, okay, so there was this other situation that kind of rubbed me the wrong way too. So the reason why I stopped, at the beginning of the quarantine, I was still actively using the dating apps. So like Black or BLK, Facebook dating, and I think that was the only two I was going back and forth between. So I really like the BLK app because it has typically all Black men on it, and I like the Facebook dating app because you can see more details about a person. And so I was using them and checking them heavily, but then it all became kind of the same. Like the conversations would be very quick and not really going anywhere. And then everyone, because we were, we couldn't go outside in Los Angeles, like the restaurants were shut down, bars were shut down, you couldn't go to clubs, you couldn't go to anything, the movies, nothing fun. So, and I personally have this rule that I'm not gonna meet anybody in their homes on the first interaction, like that, just a safety precaution. So, everybody was just like, oh, well, you could come to the crib, you could come over, da 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 da. No, I cannot. Because for two reasons. One, I don't know you. You could be crazy. I'm not trying to be in your house. And secondly, if I come in your house, 9 times out of 10, you're going to try to have sex with me. I'm not interested in having sex with you, bro. I don't know you like that yet. And this is not for me to be coming over here and doing that when I'm actually trying to, like, either get to know people. And really, honestly, the only reason I was even still, I had got myself back onto them. That ain't no word. If I hadn't just started using the dating apps again at the beginning of the year, the only reason I was doing that was because I actually wanted to like go on actual dates. Like I wanted to go out, I wanted to go to the movies, go bowling, go to the club, go to concerts, go to a spoken word nights or comedy shows or the theme parks, like all types of, like I really just wanted to have fun because in my mind at the end of the semester I was going to be hopefully moving somewhere for a new job, and so I wanted to make the most out of being in LA. So with us being in quarantine, it didn't really make any sense because I couldn't go out on any dates. So I just stopped using the apps. Honestly, like I believe I've deleted them all off my phone because I was bored with the conversations and I didn't want to talk to people anymore. So this one guy, I met him. We decided to do we had set a date to hang out on Sunday, and I happened to be closer to where he was on like Thursday, so we ended up meeting at an In-N-Out. So we go to the In-N-Out, we sit down. I wasn't hungry, but he got something to eat, and he bought me a shake. We have like a really nice conversation, get to know each other, we're laughing, it's a cool time. Like, okay, cool, I'm looking forward to the real date. Now that I'm thinking about this, we get back to we're talking and we get to the day that the real date's supposed to happen, and he doesn't. He's basically unavailable now, so he has to do some type of shooting situation where he's like on location. He can't make the date. I'm like, okay, well that's kind of disappointing, but make your money, whatever. So we talk for a little bit more. I finally actually link up with him, but he at this point, it's quarantine now, so we can only go to his place. So I go to his place and we watch a movie. He has on this movie that's like so not anything that I'm interested in. Like he didn't ask me what I wanted to watch. He didn't say like, hey, is this like kind of the thing that you'd be interested in? He just had this movie on. So forcing me to watch this really weird film, and he tries to like cuddle, but he has like a really small couch, and I'm like, bro, it's not enough space for the both of us on this thing. And then he tries to like kiss me, and I'm like, bro, bro, his mouth tasted nasty. I'm like, I can't, I don't want to deal with this. Let me just readjust myself and kind of like whatever. So I basically sit on the other end of the couch, and he sits on his end or whatever, and I was like, cool, no big deal. We get through the rest of the night. He had told me he had bought all these snacks, and you know, it's gonna be like a fun movie night. So I'm waiting for the snacks to come out. He gives me like some ice cream. None of the other stuff, the chips, the cookies, all of that, none of that comes out. I'm like, bro, in my mind, I'm thinking if you gonna invite somebody over to have a movie night, we about to have a whole little situation. All my goodies should be out on the table. I feel like that's typically how that should go. Um, so I end up leaving because I'm like, at this point I'm hungry. He don't have no real food out. I gotta go. So I leave, and I head back to the crib. And I think we talked for a little bit after that, but not anything major. And then a couple, maybe a week or two go by, and then we chat again. I'm like, yo, what's up? I haven't heard from you in a minute. He's like, oh, because I felt like I was chilling with the homies when you came over. I said, sir, it was the first time we were hanging out. What did you think was gonna happen? Did you think I was gonna be all over you? For what? I don't know you. We like you fine, but that's it. Like we ain't gonna have no chemistry yet. We don't have no. There's no extra vibes. It's I'm trying to feel you out, trying to get to know who you are. Needless to say, I ain't heard from him in months, and I'm perfectly fine. But basically, the point of that story was, I'm not going to nobody's house right now. Anybody could have COVID-19. Anybody could be sick. I live with my people. I'm not trying to get my people in my house sick. So I'm not chilling with y'all. I'm not chilling with y'all in your house. It's just not happening. Like, if you're a whole complete stranger, I'm not doing it. Mm-mm. So that's on that. Now let's get to dating during quarantine. Okay. So, I can't remember if I talked about this in the last episode, but for my graduation, I did a collaborative grad party with one of my fraternity brothers. We rented an Airbnb with a pool, a really cool like clubhouse kind of vibe, and we invited our closest friends. So like I invited 4 people and he invited 4 people, and then we just kind of brought a little party together. This was like still before the city opened up, so I was trying to be as precautious as possible. I was like, we're not gonna have over 10 people. We need to be conscientious of like germs, and like I brought hand sanitizer. I was like, everybody has to wash their hands when they get inside, things like that. We have this little pool party, and my homegirl brings friends. She like comes up to me. She's like, "Hey, sunshine, like I got these friends that want to stop by." In my mind, I thought she was bringing girls. Mm-mm. Boys. She brought two guys, and one of them, well, they both were really attractive dudes, but one was for her essentially, and the other one was just there like to be with the homie. And they basically got me drunk because they brought Hennessy, and I didn't have a real lunch. I ate soup before going, which was stupid. And they were giving me shots of Hennessy straight to the head, and it was a mess afterwards. But essentially, I ended up meeting this other person. His name will not be mentioned either. But we connected, had a good time. He ended up staying for the rest of the game night and stuff like that. And we just we exchanged numbers or whatever. So that was May 25th. Now, mind you, a couple weeks into my birthday on June 10th. So we start talking every day. We decided to do like a quarantine date kind of vibe where we went and got food, and then we went to the crib and we talked, watched movies, listened to music, and all this type of stuff. It was a really great kind of like first date or whatever. I had a really good time, really good time. And then what happened? I think we kept talking. I might have seen him one more time, and then my birthday was coming out, so he actually helped me pick the place for my birthday party. So if you follow my other page, you might have seen some what do you call them, pictures or videos on my story, but I didn't post much to my actual page. But anyways, I had this birthday party in June. So so all the way up until my actual birthday, which was on a Wednesday, we had been kicking it, talking all day, good mornings, good nights, how you doing, all the way through the day. Everything's Gucci. I'm like, okay, this is cool, no complaints. My actual birthday comes around, and pretty much for all of time, I have never had anyone around during graduation ceremonies or birthdays. And my birthday and my graduations are always around the same time, um, in the summer. And so I just happen to always be single. I believe I said in the last episode, my season is August. I always tend to be dating someone new by August. Anyways, so he was around and he was being very active and very engaged, and we were really having I feel like it was just a very good momentum. So we're planning for my birthday, and then my actual birthday comes, and we're like, okay, well, what do you want? He's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. Like, what is it that you want to do? And he was like, well, I'm just trying to see, like, how I can fit into your schedule. Like, what do you have planned? Like, whatever you do, I want to be a part of it. I'm like, okay, well, I really don't have any plans, because I honestly didn't. Like, my 30th birthday was not supposed to be during coronavirus. Like, I never, like, obviously never foresaw being stuck in the house for my 30th birthday. Like, I planned to be in Egypt. I was supposed to be traveling for Centennial. I was supposed to be traveling for AGP. Never did I plan to be stuck in the house. So it didn't even dawn on me to come up with like dinner plans or a backup situation, because I'm just like, what is there to do? Los Angeles is still shut down. So he ended up taking me out to eat, and we went to this place called Soul Food Shack in El Segundo. Mind you, Soul Food Shack is fire. It is one of the best soul food places I've ever eaten at, and I'm from the South, so hands down, shout out to y'all. So anyways, we go get this Soul Food Shack. He has like a bottle at the crib, and we eat, and then we like watch a movie or whatever, and it was great. We just had a really nice little time, and it was just really cool because I've never had anyone around during my birthday, so it was nice that someone had asked to be a part of plans, that created plans, or whatever. Now things get a little funky by my birthday party. So this couple days later. Now, when I met him on the 25th, he stayed for the whole rest of the function. I assumed he was going to stay for the whole function for my birthday party, because now we know each other, we're kicking it, da-da-da-da. He decides that that's not the case or whatever. And so he pulls up with my homegirl. I look at her. I look at him. I said, y'all came together? They're like, yeah. And both of them looking like, what's the problem? And I'm thinking to myself, why did y'all come together? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, God. I'm over it now, guys, I promise. But I was really frustrated in the moment. So anyways, so basically, they show up together. And he's not being as attentive as I thought he would be. He's there, he's helping, he's like setting up my birthday balloons and like all this type of stuff, but like actually like being around me, he's not doing that. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on with this guy, but whatever. Then later in the evening, when everybody is like chilling and playing games and stuff, he and my homegirl leave, and I'm like, you're leaving? He's like, yeah, I didn't know you wanted me to stay. I'm like, I didn't realize I had to say that I wanted you to stay at my birthday party. So he leaves. Apparently he had other plans. He was going to somebody else's birthday party as well in the evening. Would have been nice to know. Would have been nice to have been invited. Because what happened was, at the end of my party, everybody started to leave. They didn't stay all night like they did for the grad thing. Because at the grad party, everybody was up to like 3 in the morning. I think everybody was done by 11, maybe midnight. And so I'm stuck in the Airbnb with people who basically sleep. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm about to dip. And so I gave the Airbnb to my soror and a different frat brother and let them have the Airbnb to sleep. And I was like, okay, well, I'll go home. So I'm like, bro, like, where you at? What you doing? He's like, oh, I'm out with people, da-da-da. And I'm like, you are at another party? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So not only was I by myself, I didn't have anywhere to go either. So I actually went home. So I go home, I'm texting him. He's still responding, but it's just not, like, the conversation is going nowhere. So I'm like, okay, this is whack. So basically, the next couple of days go by, and essentially, he's just like, "We need to talk," and I'm like, "Talk about what?" Like we're not at the place where we need to talk is a thing. Like, what is it to talk about? So, anyways, we end up talking, and he basically asking like, "Did I lead you on?" No, is what I said. But in all actuality, he did. Like I feel like we're kicking it. We're going out. You're paying for food. You're making sure I'm entertained. You checking on me. You're making sure I'm good with my birthday party. You helping me with my workout challenge. Like you're actively engaging with me. Like this is not a one night thing. This is not a booty call. This is not one of those situations. So yeah, I expected us to still be good, but things don't seem okay. So we finally talk on the phone, and he's just like, I told you I didn't want to be in a relationship. I told you I'm inconsistent. I told you all this stuff, blah blah. I'm like, whatever. I didn't ask you for a relationship. I didn't ask you for commitment. I keep trying to tell these little boys that that's not what I'm looking for. I know that I am a flight risk. I am interested and willing to leave Los Angeles at any point in time. When I get a job offer, I don't care where it is, I'm gonna go. So I'm not trying to be in anything serious with y'all, because especially for people who are from Los Angeles, they don't want to leave this place. So I'm like, whatevs, do your thing. So essentially, after that conversation, we still kind of like are texting, but not as much. We're not talking on the phone as much. And then I go out of town for a week. The conversation is still not as popping as it was before. And I'm like, okay, well, things are off. I'm pretty sure he's starting to pull back. Cool. So, I hit him up when I come back. I'm like, hey, do you want to link? I'm finally back in town. Blase, blase. He's like, he basically says yeah, but then it doesn't happen. So I'm frustrated, and kind of like disappointed, because I haven't seen him in 2 weeks. So a week and a half. So like the week that I was gone, plus the time leading up to leaving, because I had to prepare for my trip. So, we don't see each other. So then we still don't see each other for like another, man, I don't know how long I've been home. Another week or two. I finally just saw him yesterday, so it's been some weeks. The conversation went back and forth. It was kind of like poo. We had another bad text conversation. Or we had our first bad text conversation where he basically went off, and when we were talking in person, oh no, that's a lie. I didn't just see him yesterday. I saw him last week too. He, sorry, trying to keep everything in order. We were talking, and I was asking him like, hey, is everything cool with us? Like, are we chilling? He's like, didn't you already ask me this? Don't you already know the answer to that? Blah blah. And like, send me this long, like, I've never had a man send me a message that takes up more than the whole iPhone screen. And I have an 8 Plus, so it's fairly large. Took up more than the screen. So he like really went off using bold, all caps and stuff. So I feel like he yelling at me. So I said to you, I'm like, bro, I don't know what's going on with you. I was not expecting this long response. I don't know why you felt the need to raise your voice through text message, but it's not that deep. I was just checking to make sure we're still good, because the energy is not the same. So he's like, what, we'll talk later. Da da da. We don't talk. I finally eventually see him, and we end up like having a conversation and hashing everything out. And I try to explain to him that you need to tell me what you want this to be. Do you want to just be friends, or do you want to be more than friends? And he's like, we can just be friends. I said, okay, cool. But honestly, we cannot just be friends, because I liked you at one point, so I'm not gonna see you as just a friend. So he's like, well, why we can't just do whatever, da, da, da. And I'm like, well, you don't get to have access to me like that. You get to be put in a box, and that's how I operate. So I keep all my lines clear. I know what's going on. And he's like, no, I'm selfish, da, da, da. I said, well, it doesn't work like that, homeboy. It just doesn't. Like, I'm not going to be here at your every beck and call when you want to see me, when you don't want to see me. Like, I'm not going to be on a roller coaster with you. Like, it's not going to go down like that. So I end up leaving. Nothing happens. We see each other yesterday. Yesterday felt so good. Like, it felt like the first time that we hung out for real, watching TV, talking to each other. He calls himself producing tonight's episode. And we have a really good time with each other. And then I just kind of feel like I don't really know what's going on. It's still not as clean clear as I like, because as he puts it, I like things black and white, and there really should be some gray. And I don't see it like that. Like, I feel like if you like someone, you should just do the things that you want to do with that person versus having to analyze the whole situation and put in all this back drama that you've had with other people onto this new person. I can assure you, I'm not like any other person you've dealt with. I'm not going to bring you the same issues. I'm not going to talk to you the same way. I'm not going to treat you the same way. I'm not going to have the same expectations of you. The first thing being, you're not my boyfriend. So I obviously cannot have really any expectations of you besides I hope to have a good time every time I'm around you. And on top of that, we specifically said to each other, this is going to be fun. So if this is going to be fun, let's just let it be fun. Let's have a good time. It shouldn't be any drama. It shouldn't be any long text messages. Shouldn't be any cussing each other out or calling each other out each other's name. Like, there should be nothing like that, because we're just kicking it. And I'm cool with that. Like, I don't need anything else from you, sir. Chilling. Now, on top of that, other things are great with him. Last night in particular, really freaking great. And that's all I'm gonna say about it, because that might be another episode. But shout out to my wax lady. So yeah, that is all of it for tonight's episode. For those of you who are watching live, do y'all have questions? If you have questions, you can talk. You can type it, and then I'll read it out loud. If not, that's cool too. I do want to say the opening song for tonight's episode is by, I think you pronounce her name, Quala Ray. It's called Huddy, and that was the instrumental version of it. Listen to the actual song, watch the music video. I am fascinated by both. Tonight's shirt is black owned. I bought this at what's it called? Spell House Homecoming a few years back. I don't remember the vendor, unfortunately. I'm really sorry about that. But if you know who this is, let me know so I can tag them once this recording goes up. But this is one of my favorite crew necks. It's so powerful and I love it. So shout out to the person who I got this from. It's really nice, and I've had it for 2 years now, and it's still in great condition. And then again, shout out to Soul Food Shack for my birthday lunch. It was really good. And then what else did I want to say? Shirt, song. Okay. So then another question we just got is, so are you still seeing him? And yes, I am. I just saw him yesterday. He saw all of me yesterday. So yeah, so that's that. Any other questions? No? Okay. So yeah, and also I just want to say the next episode will be Sunday at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. EST. And thank y'all for tuning in. Ooh. Okay, so one of the things I forgot to mention earlier was that after the conversation with my ex from the Bay Area, he apologized for everything that happened and ending things so abruptly or whatever. And while I wasn't expecting or needing an apology, it was really nice for him to offer it. And he just kind of like checked on me and stuff like that. And so that was cool. But it was nice to have some closure just because I really felt like how things ended was completely unnecessary. And we definitely could have had a longer relationship for sure. So, even though it's kind of weird that he popped up during quarantine, quarantine also gave me some closure. So